Well, welcome back everyone to day one of the Piano Pivot for 2017. It's such a cool thing to be here with all of you. And I'll hand over in just a moment to Nicola, who's going to run today's little session. But I just wanted to say, Nicola, we have been so blown away by, one, the comments that have been coming back, and two, for all of you who have been sharing your mind maps or your brainstorms from yesterday. Just phenomenal. What do you think, Nicola?
Yeah, they're incredible. It's been so fun. The amount of comments and the excitement coming through, it's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So look, I'm not going to say too much. I think you all know who we are and the kinds of things that we're doing in this pivot. So I'm going to pretty much hand over to Nicola, as I said, to take us through today, which is all about you, focusing on you and getting that right before we actually worry about anyone else. So it's going to be really, really good. Nicola.
Sure. As it is day one and people might still be catching up with us a little bit, I'm just going to give a brief rundown of what we're doing here. So the Piano Pivot is a Facebook Live every day at this time, and you download your playbook at pianopivot.com if you haven't already got it. I know a lot of you are already up to speed from yesterday's video, but just in case you didn't catch it, go watch that. It's in the Facebook group right now, so you can watch it back at any time and share with us your big blue sky brainstorms and start a discussion at any time in the group, whether you're a piano teacher or a violin teacher, whoever you are. So you're all very welcome here. I wanted to share a few highlights actually from yesterday, because we had some amazing photos of brainstorms coming through and comments and all this stuff. So I had a few highlights that I picked out. Patty, one of her really interesting ones was that she said she always wanted to have her recitals planned in advance, which I thought was a really interesting thing to include if that's something that stresses her out every single year. Sarah was saying that she wants to work from 10 to 6 and then teach from 12 to 6. So she has those 2 hours in the morning reserved for her admin and her planning. And I thought that was really smart and really achievable.
I remember seeing that. I thought that was a great idea. Yeah. Great
way to segment it and build that in. And then Linda was saying she wants to stay at home just like me and have a separate space. And she also mentioned that she wants to have ample parking on site. So little things like that, if those are important to you, build them in. Maybe that's currently a bugbear wherever she currently is. And also Ruthie put in 2 levels of income. I don't know if you saw that, Tim. She put in a sort of minimum income, and then she put a big stream income.
Yeah, great.
To have the range in there, I thought was really wonderful as well. And those were the ones I had earmarked. And then Elaine was watching this morning and she said something that I know we'll both resonate with. She said she wants to try to convince the parents that the exam system is not a curriculum. So she had posted that this morning. So go from an exam system. If that's a number 1 goal for this year, I think you'll have done well if you're in that.
Yeah. I was going to say too, a lot of people mentioned the idea of getting some income other than just from more teaching or more students, and I thought that was great. I mentioned that just almost in passing, but it's really important, and there's a lot of opportunity now for people to be able to find other ways to create incomes for themselves, perhaps by selling a product online or having a little store or whatever it is. So keep those ideas coming. That's what this is all about.
Exactly, and it's easier than you think, this whole web thing. It's not that hard.
Absolutely.
So like Tim says, keep adding those. But today we're going to talk about you. So the reason we added this day, and the reason it's number 1, it is important that it's day 1 because you do actually come first. And most teachers tend to have a habit of putting themselves last. So if that's you, I want to encourage you to work through today, because it's really important that you put yourself as a priority. You are really important, and you do have a big effect on how well your business goes. If you aren't healthy and if you aren't happy, then everything else is basically kaput. So you hear that old adage all the time of putting your oxygen mask on first, on the airplane. It's overused, but it is extremely true. And if you aren't looking after yourself, you can't look after your students. So teachers are always trying to put their students first, but in doing so, you're not putting your students first. You're putting your students Second, because you're making yourself not a priority and then you can't look after them. When I think about big things I need to say no to with parents, I often come back to this idea, like if there's a makeup lesson that someone wants that's outside my normal teaching hours, the way I convince myself to say no when I sometimes don't want to is that is unfair to my other students. If I get up earlier and start my day earlier than I normally do on a Saturday to make up for this family missing a lesson on Thursday, then the rest of my Saturday students, they suffer for that because I'm more tired, I have less energy and less enthusiasm for all those students. So I think you should take today to look after yourself for you. I think that's enough of a reason. But if you do need an extra push to do it, please do it for your students. So if you can't justify doing it just for your own sake, which you should be able to, do it for your students because it's only fair to them that you're at your best. Wouldn't you say, Tim?
Absolutely, yeah. I really like that approach. I hadn't thought of that, of realizing that, yeah, if you've got to do 2 makeup lessons before your normal teaching, all that other teaching is going to be impacted on you being extra tired, maybe a little bit grumpy, whatever it is, that you haven't had a break. So I think that's a really good point to bring up. I like it.
Yeah, and even if you aren't extra tired, you will be a little bit grumpy because you'll have done that a little bit begrudgingly, whether you let on or not, probably.
I'd be grumpy.
So the 3 areas that we want you to look at today when it comes to you are your diet, your health and fitness, and your work-life balance. This will be completely different for everyone, depending on your lifestyle, your family circumstances, your age, everything. And it's not about some kind of prescription of what your life should look like and you have to do this much exercise per week. We're not about that at all. We just want you to find a balance that works for you and makes sense for you. And we've had some really wonderful goals achieved in this area in the 4-week challenges in the Inner Circle. So members there, they set really achievable, concrete goals in their sort of life goals area that we have. And it's just amazing what they got done. Those are often the most valuable parts of the challenges. Yeah, they learn a lot about different pedagogy and they maybe improve their business or their student numbers, but those things that they do for themselves are often the most valuable. So for example, some members have done stretching every day. It could be as simple as that, or yoga 3 times a week, or attending 1 public class a week. They've been walking their dogs in the morning before they start teaching.
They've stopped eating chocolate. Yes. I'm not necessarily suggesting these, but that's come up a few times. Playing with
that's one that I wouldn't go for, but yeah.
Playing with grandchildren, just walking, riding bikes. Got quite a few cyclists in the group. So all of these things, they're small, really, but they contribute in such a big way to your health.
Make a huge difference. And just that act of doing this little thing every day that is about looking after you, I think that's important in and of itself. So whether it's giving up chocolate or coffee or drinking more water, or on the most recent challenge, one of our members wanted to stand up more to work to help her back. So she wanted to be working at her computer standing up more often, and she now only stands up to work. So that's an amazing accomplishment. She only wanted to increase it a little bit, but she found once she set it up that way, she wasn't even bothered moving it, and she stands up all the time. It makes a huge difference to how she feels. So little things like that can make a massive difference. So this is kind of the opposite of yesterday. It's not about these huge, lofty ideas. Where do you want to be in 3 or 5 years' time or whatever? It's about specific things that you can achieve in the first 3 months of next year. For me, the 3 areas, diet is not really a problem for me. I always look after myself in that area, but the one area I always struggle with is fitness. I do not enjoy exercising. It's not my favorite thing. I love doing yoga every day, but I try to run more and all that stuff. So that's the area that I would pick if it were me. And I've made an effort this year to include more hobbies and have more stuff outside work. So my work-life balance is actually pretty good, despite what it seems with the amount I work online. It actually is pretty balanced. The one area I need to improve on, I know, is exercise. So it'll jump out to you straight away, I think. And I think Tim would probably be the opposite of me. I'm sure he's got the exercise thing covered. He's an extremely active guy.
So, well, I would say, yeah, I really enjoy. I do a lot of cycling. I do some gym work as well, and I'm fairly active generally, so that isn't so much of an issue for me. And I do love cooking good food, so diet's okay as well for me. It's a work-life balance thing that I've put some goals down for next year to really improve on. So that's the one for me. I think you're right. That you don't feel like, even if you think you might need work in all these areas, you don't have to fix everything at once. No. Again, I'd say for all of this challenge and for any goals that you're setting, trying to do one thing at a time will have much more success in a shorter period of time than trying to do everything. So it might be, that one of these sticks out for you a little bit more than the other, but maybe you could do a couple. Maybe you could do a little bit of activity and fix up the diet as well. I don't know.
Yeah, you could certainly do a couple. I mean, our 4-week challenges are...
You okay?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, weird tech thing there. Interrupted myself a little bit. Yeah, so, I mean, the 4-week challenges are obviously 4 weeks, and we're talking about a quarter. So you could certainly pick out a couple rather than just the 1 or 2 that members have been picking out for the 4-week challenges. But make them all attainable. They are supposed to be things that fit into your daily life and that you can actually do. So I suggest writing in the comments now, if you can, that if there's one that you can pick out of those 3 areas that needs the most work, I think that'll be helpful if you pinpoint what that is. And when it comes to the homework for today, what you'll find in the workbook, you can kind of see that, you can see it now. So these are ratings charts that you should have in the workbook that you downloaded. And the way it's set up, you pick the things that you're talking about, so it could be any of these different areas we're going to be talking about. You pick them and you give yourself a rating on how you're doing. So the easiest one to explain it by is sleep, because if one of your goals is to sleep more, which is really important that you sleep enough, then you would mark in how many hours you're currently sleeping per night, and then how many hours you feel you should be, or your goal is going to be to sleep per night. So, or exercise per week, or anything. So some of the areas you might like to look at there are like sleep, exercise, different types of exercise, diet, your hobbies. If you want to add in a hobby, I added choir this year, and that's been fantastic. I have my first, we have our first concert that I'm a part of in a week, so I have to get prepping for that. But it's great to do things outside of teaching as well. So don't just think of this as the exercise, typical January goals. It could be something really fun that you add to give yourself more work-life balance and more inspiration outside teaching as well. And it could be about the hours that you're working. Maybe you let your phone kind of bleed into all of your life and you need to set that aside. Members have also set goals of, no phones in the bedroom, or no phones before this time in the morning, or something like that. So that's a really good way to achieve balance there. And as was pointed out yesterday, I think this is where you should write in your personal practice. If you are not getting enough time to practice the piano, I think this is, or whatever instrument you're doing, this is a really great place to put that, because that is for you. And I'm talking about practice that is for you, not something you're doing because you're accompanying or whatever else you're doing aside from teaching, or not teaching pieces either, not duets you're going to play for a recital, but actual stuff that you want to learn just for you, or for a performance you're giving that's not work related. I think this would be a great place to put in goals for that as well. And then over the page in the workbook, you'll see this chart. And I think the way this is laid out is really, really useful. It allows you to make a step-by-step plan. So you start with the area you're working on, and then you jump over to the other side of the chart immediately and put in your goal. So if your area you're working on is your sleep, and your goal is to get 8 hours sleep per night, then you put in the 8 at the end. And if you're currently getting 5, you step it up during that time where you're going to bed at 12 p.m. if that's a good goal for you, and then 11, and then 10:30, which is your ultimate goal in order to get that 8 hours sleep per night. So you're stepping it along the way. Another example would be, for me, if I want to do more running, if I had a goal of running, say, 3 times per week and a certain number of kilometers, I wouldn't start with that amount in January. I would start with just making myself run 3 times a week as a routine in the beginning, and then upping the kilometers from there in the next month. So you can step it up in various different ways depending on the circumstance. But I think setting those month by month goals will be really valuable. And of course, we'd love to see photos of those if you do set it all up.
Definitely. I think one big word that comes in here is routine, and the importance of routine for making regular change and building in habits too. And I was just reading, Ken from Singapore mentioned we need to be in good health and spirits for our lessons. I challenged myself and enrolled in personal training. It was tough at the beginning, but once it becomes routine, very much like our practicing the piano, it becomes easy. So all of these things, they might seem like insurmountable goals sometimes, like even the running for you, Nicola, but if it becomes a routine and you just know that at 7 a.m. or whatever time is the right time for you, that you're running on those 3 days and it's no questions asked, you go, then it just becomes part of your program.
Yeah, and in that case, the thing that started to work for me is literally I finish teaching and I just leave. I just change and immediately go, because then I don't start winding down and getting to fun stuff. I just get that done as part of the routine and it just is established. So exactly as you're saying, like we go on about this, or certainly I do, to parents about establishing this practice routine for the kids. And it is valuable for us too. It does get everything done. Routines are everything, and habits. Don't rely on yourself to come up with the willpower in the moment. Establish an expectation that you're going to do it this way, and that's just how it's going to be. I think that's definitely the right way to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, all my I cycle. I do and cycle classes, so indoor cycle classes, and I just know that's at 7 p.m. on a Monday night, and I know that I do it at 6 a.m. on a Friday morning, and I know that I have a personal trainer at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and that's it. I never change it. Unless I'm sick, I go, and it's just locked in. And it's just a great way to do it. If you're interested, there's quite a few people saying get to the gym, do some exercise, things like that. There's one thing that will help when it comes to that, and that's having a buddy who can keep you accountable for going on runs or going to the gym. It's so easy to just say, it's just too easy to stay in bed. But when someone else is waiting for you, then you'll get out of bed. So that's a good little trick.
Yeah, definitely. Or even if you can't get someone to go with you, even just telling them, this is what I'm doing at this time. And if you have a partner and that you're that way inclined, this certainly wouldn't work for me. I'd just rebel against it. But for some people, I know getting them to just put a little bit of pressure on you, like just ask me if I actually went for my run today or whatever, is very helpful for certain personality types. Depends on the way you're structured, I think.
One thing I wanted to do, Nicola, is just show people how they can actually use this, which is these kind of ratings charts. So some of them, you'll see that there are different, some of them have percentages on them. So these ones here, some of them have numbers. So for something like this one I've chosen to do sleep. So by shading one, either the outer ring or the inner ring, whichever one you want to do, one of them is where you are at now. So maybe you're at 6 hours now. And the other one is where you would like to be. So you can see that difference and where you're trying to achieve. That's the idea of these. And so one of them could even, I had this one as perhaps your overall health, 25%, 50%, 75%, or are you at 100% health right now? Where are you at, and where would you like to be?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, it's important to make that clear. And the sleep is a big one that I think we discount a lot of the time, or a lot of people do these days, you know. But yeah, I was listening to a podcast today about the importance of it, so it's interesting that it's coming up so much here. Getting that sleep and getting stuff to do outside piano that is going to give you energy for your teaching. I think that's so important. Lisa has said quality of diet, too much grabbing food on the run. Most of it not ideal nutritionally, but quick and handy. It's a real challenge for teachers, I think, both classroom and piano teachers at home, because we often give ourselves such little time for break between students that what have you got to do? You've only got a time for a cookie,
And I can't believe I used the word cookie. We never use that word over here, but anyway, it makes sense to people. And then you're back to it. So, perhaps in your brainstorming of how you'd like to change things for next year, you might do one of two things: give yourself more time between students, or prepare your meals in advance, or prepare snacks in advance. I've got this great recipe for these little protein balls that are all kind of dates and coconut and all that with no sugar. And they taste amazing, and they're such a great little snack. So they're out there.
Something very similar.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, that's really, really good that you bring that up. People do not schedule enough breaks for themselves. I'm big on this. I set minimum requirements for my breaks as if I was an employer. Like writing a contract, and I stick to them no matter what when I'm making my schedule. So I think as you move into a new year, so if you're in Australia, maybe this is a good chance for you. If you're in this part of the world, maybe wait till the summer to you resetting your schedule or whatever, but set minimum requirements. How much can you actually work before you start to lose enthusiasm and energy levels and start to feel a bit, like you're not teaching at your best? Because when you're cramming students into the day, you're not teaching at your best, and maybe that means you don't get quite the rate that you should be getting if you were teaching at your best. So maybe the income will actually work out the same. Just take a look at it. I don't think you need to cram in students like sardines and just put yourself last like that and not give yourself enough time to, go get some water or have a cup of tea or whatever you need to do.
Deborah's saying, I think for us musicians, it's always exercise. And the other thing is that we all sit down so much too. I remember my childhood piano teacher used to have this knitting needle that was this long, and she used to poke at the music. She didn't used to give me with it. She was great, but she used to point at the music like this, sitting back, so that she didn't have to stand up. You could just stand up, teach standing up. I walk around. I've got a very small studio, but I tend to walk around my students sometimes, without obviously making them feel uncomfortable, but just move around. Standing up when you're teaching is great. I'm just having a look through the comments.
A lot more too lately too. I find myself walking back and forth all the time because my teaching desk and chair is actually on the opposite side to where my second piano, my keyboard is that I play. So I'm walking back and forth and back and forth. And just, walking around. Don't use a pointer to point from the chair like Tim was saying. Get up and point from above anyway, because the student will be able to see better if you point from above, regardless. But just simple changes like that. So it's just about little changes that we're going to make in the first quarter that are going to have this big impact and allow you to put yourself before.
Linda is a CrossFitter, so she's that's impressive. She says, "Join CrossFit, your body will thank you." Not my thing, Linda, but I have friends who do it and they swear by it. People who are in it, they can't tell enough people about it. So,
if it's your thing, it's definitely your thing, right?
Yeah. Do you see that's a comment from Susan too, saying there is physical evidence that sitting for more than 25 minutes at a time without moving around is accumulatively bad for your body. That doesn't surprise me to read at all, Susan. Thanks for sharing that.
It is, and teachers often complain about back pain as well. And I think just getting up and moving around would make a huge difference for that. It's just sitting still in a chair. It lets your back seize up over time.
Patricia wants my protein ball recipe. I'll see what I can do, Patricia. It's a very scrappy bit of paper, but I'll see if I can find it.
You have to post that. Awesome. Lisa's doing kickboxing. That's cool.
Whoa. Very cool.
Yeah, the only exercise I actually enjoy is my Irish dancing, but that's only once a week. So that's why I have to add boring things I don't like that.
You know what I will encourage teachers not to try, because I did it and I really regretted it, and that's boxing. I was never a full-on boxer, but I did like a boxer size kind of thing once. Mm-hmm. And you put on the gloves and everything, but I tell you what, my knuckles and hands were just sore afterwards. Just, don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think the kickboxing makes a lot more sense.
Kickboxing is a lot more sensible. Yeah. And Linda says off-bench activities during lesson time. Yeah, that keeps me moving. When I have a day full of preschoolers, I'm pretty active.
Yes, yeah. And Ken's saying no phones in the bedroom. He's just saying, how's everyone dealing with this? Ooh, it's a hard one, isn't it?
I just put mine on flight mode. That's my solution.
Yeah, I do. Do you use it for your alarm?
Yeah, that's why flight mode and not off. But just put it on flight mode. I'm reading now, like use the Kindle and just go, nope.
Yeah, yep. I do the same. So I do bring it into the bedroom, but I don't look at it once I'm going to sleep mode. There's also make sure on your phones, if you are using them at night, you can put on night mode on a lot of them, so it gets rid of all the blue light from the screen and it makes them all warm and fuzzy and orangey. And it's just a simple way to stop that blue light keeping you awake at night. I use it when I'm working on my computer too.
Although there's two problems with the phones at night, right? There's the actual light, and there's the fact that you have Facebook buzzing through your head with all these little comments.
That's true.
So I think if possible, put it away.
Yeah.
Unless you actually find Facebook comments and stories relaxing.
That's right. And of course, you can just try these things. Try it for a week. Try not bringing it into your bedroom for a week and see what happens. See if it makes a difference or not. Yeah, it might not, but it might. I was going to say to Nicola, on the big goals plan, how many are we expecting people? They don't have to fill out all of these, do they?
No. It's just give them room, mostly so they can go sleep. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't matter, and scribble it out or whatever. Right. You know, they don't want to run out of space. But I'd say 3 or 4 max. What would you think? Yeah,
I think between 3. Yeah, I think 3 to 5 would be absolutely heaps. Yeah. And you know, maybe doing 3 at once is too much. So maybe just one goal is getting your sleep sorted in that first quarter of next year. Remember that all the planning we're doing now is to set us up for next year. Yeah. So you're thinking ahead of time. That means you can use your screen until the end of the year, and then it's out of the bedroom.
And then it goes out.
No, you can start it whenever you want. It's okay. So cool. There's some great other comments coming in, but I can see that we're coming close to our half hour, so we should probably start wrapping soon. Linda's creative brain likes to work between 2 and 4 a.m. Wow, I'm so glad mine. I'm a morning brain worker, so mine's sort of 7 till 11 a.m. Thank God I could not do that, Linda.
Yeah, that's the way I used to be in college. That's when I did all my work. Well, I just worked all the time. I didn't sleep at all, but I did my best work from 2 to 4. Yeah, absolutely.
So look, if you've got any questions about the task to do today, pop a question in there now so that we can answer that before we sign off. And as Nicola suggested, if you're interested and you're happy to share your goals in a photo upload to the video, we would love to see them. I'm hoping that everyone who's on has seen some of people's brainstorms. It's just great to be able to share that. Yeah. And given me ideas about the possibilities of things that you guys want to do and that I could help you with, and I'm sure Nicola's feeling the same.
Definitely. Yeah, and even if you don't want to share the whole sheet, if you don't want to share the photo, I'd love it if you do. But if not, just share the one most important goal that you want to get done. I think that'd be a great thing to do, and the plan of how you're going to get there. What are the actual steps every month? Even just share that as a comment, because it might actually make the difference between you doing it and you not even just saying it to us now. So I think that'd be a great thing to do if you won't share it.
Yeah. Jeff says he's given up TV news. It became a bad morning and nighttime habit. Yeah, news it's horrendously depressing. I find the same. So that's not a bad idea too. Joanne says her other issue is having no one available during the day to exercise with. My friends work normal hours. Yeah, we don't work normal hours, do we? Maybe, you got 2 options there, Joanne, I guess, to see if you can rev yourself up and do it on your own, or are you able to flick a student or 2 around so that you can, on a couple of days, spend time with a friend who would like to do that with you? Yeah,
or if it's something like running, there's probably a group. There's loads of running groups, so there might be a group of like mums of young kids who go running together in the morning. I don't know. You might find that there's actually groups out there who go running at the time that you do, or go to the gym together, or do classes or something like that. But otherwise, like Tim said, flip a few things around. You might be able to squeeze in some time with friends.
Yeah. Serena had a great question too. I find it so hard to schedule breaks between teaching because parents always stay and chat, and I feel even more gypped that I spent time discussing work without getting paid. How does everyone else deal with this? And Candace said, I tell parents that the final 5 minutes of the lesson are reserved for recapping with parents. So that's an interesting approach. I'm fairly, I don't know about you, Nicola, maybe it's a guy thing. I don't tend to engage in big conversations with my parents. Really?
I think that probably is a guy thing. Parents
Maybe.
sometimes try to do this, but I make it pretty clear in a non-too rude way, but be a little bit rude, like sort of dawdle towards the door, because it's not fair. They can't just stay. And if they are saying something really in-depth, I'll say, oh, that's great. I want to give my proper attention to this. Could you please put it in an email? If they just won't stop going on about a particular issue or an exam, they want, something specific that's they're concerned about, I ask them to put in an email so that I can give it my proper consideration, i.e.
Right.
Go away. Leave me.
I must say, if you've got 30 minutes, spending the last 5 minutes recapping them with parents, then your lesson time is incredibly short. But over a 45-minute lesson, maybe students and parents know that you teach 45 minutes, and the last 5 is recap, summary, parent chat if you need to, what's coming up, and then they're out of there. I think that's a good idea, Candace. I like it.
Yeah, even with my extra young students who the parents need to help them a lot with practice at home, I will stop like 2 minutes earlier, literally 2 minutes before time, so that they can go through what they need to do at home to practice with them. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I can't see any particular questions coming up, although Deborah said, would you guys send us these material, please? Deborah, I'm not sure what you mean. Just
is it the workbook? Because you might not.
If you're talking about the workbook, head to pianopivot.com and you'll be able to grab that. And Linda does the same thing. She walks the kids to the door. Yeah,
just sort of sidle towards the door. That's the most effective. They don't do it after the first few weeks of you doing that.
Yeah. Linda would love to move her parents and students to a 45-minute lesson. Well, Linda, that's got to be on your brainstorm if you didn't put it down. That is a game changer, I think. For any of you who are stuck in 30-minute blocks, if you're interested, I tell you what, you'll get so much more value out of 45 minutes. Why are you smiling so much, Nicola?
No, just I hate 30-minute lessons. It's just not fair. Yeah, they will just get so much more out of the 45-minute lessons, and you won't get as much pushback from parents as you think you will in most cases. So yeah, put that in the brainstorm from yesterday. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I think we'll start wrapping it up. I would love if you're live on the call now and you've enjoyed this little conversation, can you give us either a smile, one of those little smiley faces, or a heart, or a thumbs up? They're always cool to see because they all come flying across the screen, which is kind of fun. Let's see if we can have a big...
Just like a big confetti.
Well, a big confetti of heart. Go, everyone, go. So what are we doing tomorrow? That's me. So I should probably mention. Yeah, there they go. Yay! That's good. Oh, someone gave us an angry face.
Oh, probably by mistake. I hope.
Oh, I hope that was by mistake. No, there's a flower. I didn't even know you could do flowers.
Thanks,
guys.
The flowers are good. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, so just to give you a quick summary of tomorrow. Tomorrow is all about your students. So before we can decide what we're going to be teaching and really refine our teaching for next year, we need to work out the kinds of students that we want to create in our studios. And so tomorrow we're going back. We've kind of started with the big brainstorm and then we've gone a bit narrower today. Tomorrow we're going to go back out again and we're going to brainstorm our ideal students, our dream student in 5 to 10 years. What are they doing? And so what I'd like you to do between now and then is actually take a little 5-minute time on the couch or in the car or whatever it is, just to shut your eyes and think about a picture. And the picture is of you seeing one of your students doing something musical in the future when they're a young adult. And what would that be? And picture them, maybe they're on stage playing with a little band and they give you a wave in the crowd because you've come along to see them, and how proud that would make you feel. Or maybe they're singing in a big choir, or maybe they're, I don't know, you're a little fly on the wall, and they've got a Christmas party, and they're playing the carols for everyone to sing along to. And that just, what is that thing that's going to give you a really big, warm heart when you see your student in 10 years still playing music of some sort? Might not be piano, could be another instrument, but what is that, and what does it look like? That's what I want you to think about between now and tomorrow, and we're going to do a little bit of a brainstorm on that one. Does that sound right, Nicola? I think we've covered that.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be a really, really fun day after today's slightly serious look at personal health. I think that's going to be a really, really fun and really valuable activity for them to do. Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the confetti of likes and smiles and stuff. We might have to do that again tomorrow. That was really fun. I don't know if everyone else liked it. I liked it. I thought that's really cool.
We'll have to request that again.
So thanks so much, everyone. There is, of course, that share button too below your video. If you think other people could value this, then please feel free to share it. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Oh, we've got a few more coming now. Thanks, guys. Brilliant.
Yeah, and invite them into the group if they're not in already, because they won't be able to see the video unless they're in the group. So just show them where the group is. Yeah.
Beautiful.
They're a music teacher. They're very welcome.
That's right. And not just piano.
Yep.
Everything. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I think we'll finish up there, Nicola, and look forward to seeing you all tomorrow again. This is exciting.
Perfect. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, bye, everyone.